follow on me. We're marching out into the night. Follow on me. We're standing up against a giant. Follow on me. We might be walking in the fire, but if it's where we're meant to be, then on me.
John Wayne's checking his watch to make sure Mama Lee's on time. And we just hit 3:13, so we are going to kick it off. The significance of that time, obviously 1513 military time, and John 15:13 is one of those things that inspires me. That's what Mark did. That verse says, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down their life for their friends. And that's definitely what Mark did, and we carry on in his memory. Our foundation's named America's Mighty Warriors. The meaning of the name Mark means mighty warrior, and he definitely lived up to his name. For those of you who are not familiar with America's Mighty Warriors or Mark Lee's amazing story, Mark was the first Navy SEAL that was killed in Iraq, August 2nd, 2006. And that young man stood out in the direct line of fire 3 times that day, willingly gave his life to save his teammates. And some of the final words that Mark probably said to his teammates that day was, on me. And if you served in the military, you know what that means. Mark said, on me, saying, I'm taking the lead on this. You guys follow me. And typically that's a big room that's got to be cleared, a big mission that's going on. He's saying, come on, we need backup. We need more support. And as we developed this program for you guys, as I thought through the changes for coronavirus and the difference that it's made in so many of our lives, and I've been in quarantine and lockdown for 6 weeks, and I live by myself, so that's kind of when you're a people person to be by yourself for that long. I laugh and say, yeah, I was alone for that long and didn't get in trouble. But as I processed through trying to think what we're going to do now, we had to cancel so many of our events and lost over $150,000 in funds that would have come in, but we are still mission strong. We're trying to think outside of the box and get creative. Our missions are still as full force going on like they were. Many of our programs for our veterans with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury, we're paying for hyperbaric oxygen therapy, hormone and vitamin therapy, natural things that are actually healing their body. And if you struggle with PTS or TBI or suicidal tendencies, this has only made things worse for so many of you. And so we want to make sure that you know we're here. We've not gone away. We're still full force in the mission and marching forward. And for those of you who haven't been impacted financially, we still need your support in this mission to be able to carry on for those who served for us. And, you know, as we developed that on me theme, what came to me was I can do that same thing as Mark did. I can say on me. And I'm hoping that you guys will follow along. Obviously, those of you who are on here chose to do that and find out what we've got in store for us, and that you're following there as we take the lead on this. But our hope is that once we get done with this call, or in the process of the call even, that you will learn some things, you will hear some things, you will be challenged, your heart will be moved, and that you will say, on me, and that you will take the lead in your own life in making some differences in the midst of what we're going through with the coronavirus. And it's not just coronavirus. These are principles that can be used in any time in our life when we're struggling, when there's transitions, when there's life changes that are happening. And I think so often we feel like, especially right now with coronavirus, you know, we're not working in our normal environment. The kids are not going to their normal environment, school. We're not able to go out and have a meal. Many of you have lost your jobs. Many of you don't know if you'll have a job, you know, when this is all over. Many of you don't know how you're going to feed your family this next week. And there are some of you that have lost a loved one to the coronavirus and in the depths of grief. And we want to be there for all of you. We want to offer you hope. And so that's the on me theme. And that's why we're here today. We will have 18 more amazing speakers. So please make sure you share this and that you take advantage of all of these amazing men. And John Wayne, I just want to say thank you so much to you. All of our speakers have donated their time. If we had a lineup of these people, and there are companies out there that do that, you would pay big bucks to come hear the quality of these men and women and their stories and their challenges and how they had to overcome and adapt. And I've known John Wayne, golly, I don't even know how many years I've known you, probably about 10 years. It would be my guess that we've known each other. And He has been so inspiring to me to watch him as an amputee, and he just goes on with life as that's not a handicap or disability to him at all. And I just wanted to share with you his bio because it's amazing, and I don't want it to miss any of that. Sergeant First Class John Wayne Walding was born on the 4th of July. Perfect name for John Wayne, and the 4th of July doesn't get any more American than that. He was raised in, I hope I say this right, John Wayne, Groesbeck, Texas. He spent nearly 12 years in the United States Army, including 7 years in the prestigious 3rd Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He has combat deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan. During his career at the 3rd SFG, he served on ODA 396/3336 as a Special Forces Communications Sergeant and at the Sniper Detachment as a sniper instructor. On April 6, 2008, John lost his right leg to sniper fire during the Battle of Shrink Valley. He continued to fight alongside his brothers for 4 more hours. The incredible story of that 6-hour fight is detailed in the book, No Way Out, A Story of Valor in the Mountains of Afghanistan by Mitch Weiss and Kevin Rauer. John's military awards and badges include the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Infantry Badge, Airborne, Assault, Air Assault, and Special Forces Tab. Post-injury, John attended Special Forces Sniper School and upon graduation became the first amputee ever to become a Green Beret sniper. Using a hand crank, he went on to compete in the 2009 Boston Marathon, in which he finished 4th, as well as being top 10 finisher of the 2010 New York Marathon. He ran the 2010 Army 10-miler, the 2016 Dallas Half Marathon, and recently completed one of the hardest marathon routes in the world, the Bataan Death March, and a 45-pound rucksack. John is the founder of Gallantry Global Logistics. Gallantry is a service-disabled, veteran, minority-owned freight forwarding and logistics company that specializes in shipments of consequence. He also travels the country speaking to veterans organizations, corporations, and the public about leadership, excellence, overcoming adversity, using his motto, lean forward, fight hard. John strongly believes his biggest accomplishment is marrying his beautiful wife, Amy, and having their 4 wonderful children, Emma 14, Sam 13, Andy 8, and Hannah 5. They reside in Little Elm, Texas. John Wayne, thank you so much, oh my gosh, for the sacrifices that you made, for the man that you are, for the leader that you are. You know, I've gotten to know your wife and children as well, and the husband, the father that you are. I am so proud of you and how you have overcome adversity more than most of us will ever face. And we're very proud of you. We're honored to have you as our guest today. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, first of all, it's very humbling just to have the invitation for you to ask this redneck from Groesbeck, Texas, to come and give you some words. I never take the invitation lightly. It does mean everything to me. And I'm honored to be in your presence, Mama Lee, from what you have done and where you've come. It's absolutely an inspiration. I am better. We are all better for knowing you. And I want you to know that. And I want you to know it's because of you why I'm here. It's because of you that we do donate our time and that we come here. And it's an honor to be in your presence. And anytime you ever need anything, I'm on you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I just, I'm overwhelmed by the sacrifice that Mark made, and the, I don't know that you ever get a benefit out of losing someone, but it's definitely a benefit, you know, people like you that I've gotten to know, you know, the Charlie Platoon boys. And it's not just there. I mean, I am a blessed woman to be surrounded by so many amazing patriots. And thank you very much. But tell us a little bit more about you. You know, I know you shared a little bit about your wife and your girls, or I read that in your bio.
Yeah.
What other things do you do? What's your family that you come back? Where were you raised in Texas? But brothers, sisters?
Right. So I was raised deep in the heart of Texas. So Groesbeck, Texas it's 40 miles east of Waco, which is why I talk like this, right? Some people say I talk weird. I say maybe they do, but I was raised in a little town. We had about 3,500 people, but a $10 million football field. So if you ever seen
Wow.
Varsity Blues, it's pretty close to that.
Right.
And in fact, we even were raised 10 or about 20 miles outside of town, which means I was really in the middle of nowhere. It
Wow.
was 7 miles of that was dirt road. So I lived out in the middle of the country. And I always remember growing up, I'd be in school and the kids, when I was in high school, would talk about sneaking out and going and doing mischievous things. I'd always think, what am I going to do if I sneak out? Go raccoon hunting or something? There's no house out in the middle of nowhere. But that's, we had a little bit of land and working cows and doing the country thing, hunting, fishing, trapping, doing what made this country great. And I loved it and joined the military whenever I was just turned 20. So if you know my personality, when I have a decision, I execute, right? Well, July 4th is my birthday. I realized I wasn't a teenager anymore. I needed a real job. So August 16th, I was in basic training. It was that quick.
Wow.
I went into the recruiter station and said, "Hey, what do you got?" He said, "You want to shoot missiles?" I said, "Heck yeah, who don't?" Right? And I found out real quick it's not near as cool to shoot missiles as he made us out to be. But no, that's when I joined, and I wasn't. I wish I could say that I was being John Wayne 4th of July. I had this great lineage of military service, but I was actually the first one. I always say I'm 100% Texan because my mom is Mexican, my dad was a roughneck. So I got oil and tacos, right? That was what I grew up on.
I hear a lot of country songs going in and what you're saying there.
Yeah. But that was it. I didn't grow up growing up or service to this country. But as soon as I got there, I realized this is what God had planned for me.
Yes.
This is why I was here. And I didn't like it. I loved it and deployed. Obviously, I was in basic training when the towers fell. So my 2001 is when I joined. August, September 11th, I will forget being in basic and getting called back in, and the drill sergeants were all jacked up on Mountain Dew saying we're going to war. And I thought it was a drill trying to scare us. But at about 2 o'clock in the morning, we're still awake, pulling guard and seeing the actual footage. Said, man, this is real.
Yeah.
And a few months later, find myself in Iraq doing the initial invasion. And that was the first time I realized life is short. When you're young, you realize you don't really think about it. You just go and do what you're supposed to do or what you think you want to do. And what happens and happens. But when you go down range and you actually see, what you have to see down there, I immediately, made the decision that life is cherished thing to have. And so I got back and I asked my wife, not at the time, Amy, to move in with me. I said, "Hey, we're going to do this. Let's do this." Right. I was at Fort Bliss and she was in Waco and I said, "Hey, I really do like it." And again, I've kind of had a little come to Jesus meeting and I'm willing to pull the trigger if you are. And she was willing as I was, and she loaded up everything that she owned in her Mitsubishi Eclipse, which means she didn't have a lot, right?
Right.
And she drove from Waco straight to El Paso, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I just, when you mentioned 9/11, my oldest son was serving in the Marines. My son-in-law was in the Army. Mark was in the Navy. And the reality for me was kind of like you said, that life is short. I knew I was going to have loved ones in combat. I knew we were going to war even before, it was actually announced and declared, but had no idea, that I'd end up.
Well, if you forget, even back then, it was all about college money, the experience, learn a good trade. Don't get me wrong, we did want to serve. But joining the military before the towers fell was a different mentality. It really was a different, thought process than it was obviously after the towers. The vast majority of those, servicemen and women, which I think are as much, if not more courageous than I was when they joined, because they knew, hey, well, I'm going to war. But back before that happened, hey, I'll go do 4 years, have some college money,
right,
and do that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we want to do with On Me is, for those people who are, facing the adversity, whether they've, maybe lost their business, some of the people couldn't keep their businesses going. Whether they've lost their job, whatever difficulty, if they're struggling with PTS or TBI, maybe they're even transitioning out of the military. I think there's a stop loss right now, so there's probably not too many doing that, but maybe just gotten out and trying to figure out, what do I do? Where do I go? And so would you share one of the most difficult things that you've gone through, and then what tools you use to overcome that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here, I'll show visuals real quick. Watch this. This is what I like about being a redneck. I got stuff, So this thing right here, I cannot run without, right?
Yeah.
This right here is what allows me to overcome that word can't. I was 27 years old when I was a Green Beret in Afghanistan, and I got shot and lost my leg. Well, I didn't lose it. I say lost. Accountability is a big thing in the Army. I had accountability. I knew where it was. It just didn't work anymore, right? But I never will forget, Mama, waking up not April 6th, but April 7th. I was in Bagram Airfield at the hospital there. And I was staring at ceiling tiles. I knew what had happened. I knew why I was there. I didn't have memory loss. I didn't have, this where am I moment. I had this, okay, you know what happened. Are you ready to look down moment, right? Because I knew whenever I looked, because I was procrastinating, just like I am right now, telling you what it was like. I didn't want to know that feeling. I didn't want to know what it was like. I thought, well, I'm in special forces. They can do crazy stuff. Maybe they can save the leg. I don't know, right? But I looked down, and I only saw one toe sticking up. And let me tell you something, I cried. I didn't do this heroic Green Beret, tough as nails thing. I didn't do this, tell my sergeant I didn't have time to do any of that. I did every human thing is I was vulnerable, right? And I knew, you didn't become a SF guy because you liked it. You do it because you loved it, right? Because you would have quit. They make it hard enough to where you're like, this isn't for me. And for me to go through everything that I went through to finally get through it and do this and to know that forever, no matter how much effort I give, I can't walk, right? Imagine that. That was the biggest, humiliating, the debilitating feeling to know before that day. If I wanted to climb a mountain, I might not get it the first time or the 100th time, but the 1,000th time I would get it because I can give the effort. I knew I wasn't always the hardest or the smartest guy, but I knew I was going to outwork you. Now I know no matter how hard I work, I can't walk. And to deal with those words was one of the hardest things that I ever had to overcome. And first thing for me that helped get me over that, quite honestly, was God. My faith has everything to do with not only my, being a husband and father and businessman, but just being a person and this inner self that you have to battle every day. Because we do have to battle our, this headspace is every single day when you wake up, and God is at the beginning of that. And Mama Lee, I know what it's like to die, right? I know what it's like when I was on that battlefield with my back on the ground, looking up at the sky, thinking I could just go to sleep and it'd be okay. And that's when I gave it to God, because I was given everything I had. I knew that's all I had, right? If you've ever been in a run, you're running as hard as you can. You can't run a 6-minute mile. You can run a 6-minute and 10 mile, right? And I was working as hard as I could. And I knew that wasn't enough. And I said, all right, God, you're right. This is yours. If I'm supposed to make it out of here, I'm supposed to make it out of here. If I'm not, it's because you deem so, and I'm ready. Now, I kept fighting, don't get me wrong, but to have that peace, to be honest with you, right? Because there's so much fear and this terrible feeling when you're, you don't know if you're going to live or die. I just gave it up to him, I did have this calm sense to where, okay, my job is done. He's doing it. All I got to do is just keep working, and I know I can do that. And so to know that God is the reason I'm alive man, that really helped my recovery because I had why me's. Have you ever had that before? Why me, God? You know,
Yep.
I had that. I'm a good guy, right? I pay my bills. I don't beat my kids. Why did this happen to me? Why did you take this? Why? Well, once I gave it to him and I realized that it's not my job to wonder why, it's my job to do the best that I can on the path that he's given me, that he knows that I can take. God knows that I can take being one-legged. God knows that I can take this hard. And that's what has changed the why me's to what are you teaching me? You know, in these times of coronavirus, this is hard times. This is real hard times. And you have to ask yourself that. What are you teaching me, God? It may not be something you want to hear. It may not be something that's easy. It may not be something that you even know how to fix, but you know this is what God deems. And so let's just try to fix it. And so that's what helped me right off the bat, was to know that it's God's plan that I'm on, you know, to get over those word can't. That's really what helped me.
You know, I that resonates so with, you know, my struggle when I lost Mark. And folks that are listening, we found out yesterday, and we have changed. It's not going to be a 20-minute. Are you okay to stick around for a little bit longer, John Wayne?
Absolutely. I'm in my garage, so I got nothing better to do.
But I've been a widow for 25 years. Lost my husband to suicide 25 years ago, and God promises to be a husband to the widow and a father to the fatherless. And I have seen him do that over and over and over in my life. And there were times in my past where I did ask that why. Have I not been through enough? Has not there not been? But when we got the word that Mark had been killed, I didn't ask why at all. I had studied God's character. I knew who he was, what he liked. I knew I'd seen him walk me through death before, and I knew he would walk me through losing Mark. It was so much harder losing Mark than it was losing my husband. We'd only been married for 8 years. He was unfaithful. Not that I wanted him dead, but it was much harder losing Mark. But God gave me amazing strength, and I had confidence in him, not in myself, because I knew I was hurting. I knew I was weak, and but I knew God would give me that strength. And as I was reading yesterday in my quiet time, I've been reading through the Message, which is a paraphrase of the Bible. It's not actually a translation. And in there in Colossians, it was talking about glory strength. And I always tell people when they say, you're a strong woman, I'm like, no, I'm not. What you see is God's strength. It's not me. But to read it that way, glory strength. And of course, you know, Mark's last letter home, he starts it, some men seek glory. Others find it stumbling on them, not expecting it to find them. And so when I saw that glory strength, I'm like, okay, that's my new line. It's going to be, no, that's glory strength that you see. And, you know, that you're so spot on, John Wayne Walding, that any of our circumstances we go through, we oftentimes lose hope. And that's why we struggle so much. And God gives us that hope, even though you'd lost your leg and knew you would never be able to walk on your own again. You knew God was going to give you that strength. And I'm sure there are times you cried out to him. You know, there's been times where I'm pleaded, and not that I'm suicidal by any means, but said, Lord, can I come home today? I know there's no pain in heaven, no sorrow, no sickness. And
I've asked for the weekend off a lot. God, can I get my leg back just for this weekend? You know, yeah, my son Sam, it's his birthday this weekend, and we're gonna go and try to celebrate it. You know, I've never. Can I just have my leg this weekend? You know, right. I'll be one-legged on Monday. Just come on, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, just the weekend. Yeah, I've said, could I just have a phone call, just one phone call to heaven? Can I just talk to Mark one more time? Mm-hmm. But there will be a day I will get to see him again. You know, God will call me home. Paul says to die is gain, to live is Christ. You know, as believers, we know when we get to heaven, there's no pain, no sorrow, no sickness. But, you know, that's the hope for both of us. And right. That would be my challenge to people that are listening or watch this later, would be to be in the Word 5 minutes a day. Grab a Bible if you don't have one. With our technology now, you can go, you know, Google Bible and get it on your phone, your, you know, computer, just 5 minutes a day. If you're not a believer, just read. Find out who God is. Find out who his character is. And we just, you know, it's been awesome having you on here. I think maybe this might be leading to something else. I've learned to follow God when he asks. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, but God, that's out of my comfort zone. But there's so much more to each one of our guests than we can get in the short time that we, do have for this. But we want to give you a moment to highlight anything that you would like to talk about. I know you've got, you're another new company that you've started that we didn't read about.
Yeah. Well,
Anything
you
else you'd
don't
like
have to
share and promote. I know I don't have to, but we'd love to do that. You've generously given of your time, so we'd like to highlight some of those things you're doing and see how our listeners could support you.
Yeah, well, so the first thing, like you said in there, I have Gallantry Global Logistics, and it's a shipping company to where we're going to hire as many vets as we can, right? That's one thing that's after leaving the military that I will forever do, is try to give that torch back to the other thing. And there's nothing better than giving a job to a veteran, and that's what we're going to do. And I have a lot of great time doing it. The next one is, what's on my hat, Live to Give. It's a bottled water company, and it's like Smart Water, but better, because every bottle you buy, we're giving half back to veteran and first responder charities. We're so excited to start this. We've been in 100 7-Eleven stores here in the DFW area and have got a great track record. And I just am so, Mama Lee, I'm so excited to see the amount of good that we're going to do just by selling water. I mean,
yes.
It's awesome. I'm excited to do it, but enough about that stuff. God's going to take care of that. I'm here for you and for those that are watching to take away something for this. My challenge, what I would like to ask for those that are watching in this time of struggle, stop being good and start being great. Right? Whenever I had that struggle, it was when one of my buddies died. You go to war. First of all, I go to war to die, not to be injured. So I'd overcome that, right? My mind was okay to go and give it all. My mind never, quite frankly, even thought about, I might lose a leg for this, and so having to overcome that. But then all the brothers that I've lost, they were embroidered on the center console of my truck, and the last one was Chris, and I woke up that next morning after Chris, and I said, you know what, enough. I drank Jack, because that's what Jack, Chris liked, Jack, and that's what you do, right? Toast the fallen, pour one for the homies. And I woke up the next morning just kind of angry and said, no more. If their life matters that much to me, by God, I owe it to them to live well. Right? And that's what I looked at, not just the drinking, not just, I'm talking about living well, because Chris don't have the choice about how good of a husband or father he's going to be, but I do. Right? Aaron doesn't have a choice. Robbie Miller don't have a choice. Ryan Savard don't have a choice. Willie Lubbers don't have a choice. All of them doesn't have that choice, but I do. And it's a bill that I owe to be great. And that's what I realized when I quit drinking. It was the best gift that I ever gave me. It was the best thing that I've ever done in my life, because now I'm not just a husband, but I'm a loving husband. I'm not just a father, I'm an involved father. Why? Because I don't come home, grab a beer and turn on Fox News or ESPN, or grab a beer and go to my garage. What do? I go to my kids and I say, how was your day? Right? I go to my wife and I say, hey, how can I help? We do date night. Apparently you got to do that. We even do it.
Yes. You don't just do it while you're dating them.
Right. Yeah. We even go to our living room. We'll have a date night in our bedroom. We'll lock the door and order a pizza and watch a movie on our bed. Right. It's cheap and we can do that, but that sobriety is really what gave me that. When I quit drinking, it was the best thing that I've ever done. And I really wish veterans would learn that. We'll learn that sobriety, that clear head, because somebody put it great that I was talking to, about my sobriety, that they were on the fence of whether they wanted to quit or not. They said they were hiding. And that's a great way of putting it, right? Why do you drink? You're hiding. I'm just stressed and I need to take this stress. So I'm going to take this Bud Light or whatever, and it's going to take this stress away. No, you're hiding from it. You need to do what I'm doing right now. If you haven't noticed, my gym or my garage is a gym. This is where I go to drink, right? I come in here, I lift weights, and I get my head right, and I face stress head on. And it's not fun. It's not fun looking yourself in the mirror and seeing doubt, right? It's not fun looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing flaws, but that sobriety and that clear head lets you face it, lets you fix it. And when you come out on the other side, my man, it's the best feeling that you're ever going to have in your life. And that's the challenge. Veterans, if they really, want to drink for their friends, why don't they be sober for their friends and live with that clear head for a while? pick up a Bible, put down a beer.
Yeah.
Just do it for 6 months, right? And my challenge is stop being good and be great means I was good when I drank. I didn't beat my wife. I had a job, paid my bills, became a Green Beret. I did all these great, I was good, right? And that's what all my friends used to tell me when I said I'm quitting. Well, I'm good. Well, so was I, all right? And why don't you be great? And that's why that's my challenge.
Yeah, John Wayne, that is so good. Your time today has just been amazing. You know, I've been encouraged, I've been inspired, and I think you were spot on. I autograph my books, Live Your Life Worthy of Their Sacrifice. And
Amen.
we do have an obligation to, you know, the Chris that we talked about was, you know, Chris Kyle, to Mark, to all your buddies, to everyone, to not even the fallen, to you, John Wayne, to every man and woman that's on here who served in the military. As civilians, speaking from my point, we have a responsibility, and that doesn't let you off the hook, you know, as veterans either. You need to continue to live your lives worthy of the sacrifices that all of those around made for the freedoms that we wake up and enjoy every day. And I know for me, as we look at this, one of the things I do every morning, I would encourage you to, when you wake up, before your feet even hit the ground, find one thing to be grateful for. You know, sometimes you're in the midst of despair so deep you don't think you can find anything. Well, did you have hot water in the shower yesterday when you took a shower? Start there, because that attitude of gratitude is contagious, and you'll find yourself looking for things to be grateful for. Then
and it's a decision that is made daily.
Yes.
Right? That's what I tell my kids, and I tell everybody. You have to make that decision every day, not just one day, not on Monday, not the first of the month. When you wake up, like you said, it's a daily decision to say, I'm going to be great today. I'm going to be grateful today. I'm going to be respectful, loving, godly, awesome. Yeah. Whatever it is, you have to make that decision.
And you do that with your will. You don't do that because you feel like it, because most days we don't feel like it. We don't feel like getting up and exercising hard. We don't, you know, feel like eating right. I would much rather go eat pie or cake than my, you know, high protein, low carb diet. But, you know, I do that, and then my body, my knees are hurting even worse, you know, than they are as I'm getting older. You pay that price for it. So with your will,
but it's worth it. It's worth it.
So worth it. So worth it.
Yeah.
Be in the Word every day. Make sure you're exercising at least 30 minutes a day. Do something for someone else. When you serve someone else, it takes the focus off yourself onto someone else, and it makes such a difference.
Well, that's what I tell my kids, you know, whenever I exercise. Well, I do also make the joke, I can't be fat and one-legged, right? I can only do one of them, you know, but I also tell my kids, you know, that, you know I make one-legged look good, but guess what? It's hard. It is hard for me to be an amputee. It is hard for me to overcome that prosthesis every day. So the stronger I am, not only am the happier I am, but the easier my life is, right? The stronger this leg is, the better I can play baseball with my son, the better that I can go running with my daughter, the better I can, you know, go riding bikes with my other daughter or chase my dog or whatever those is. You know, this physical health helps me.
Yes.
So and it helps anyone, you know, the happier I've ever been mentally, I was physically. I firmly believe in a direct correlation that if you do something that is hard every day, your brain will thank you for it.
Yes. Oh, that's so spot on. So spot on. Hey, Ryan, can we pull you up? And would you bring a couple questions out? There you go. So folks,
what's happening, John? How are you, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? That's the sweet hair.
Oh, thanks, man. Hey, I just want to first say thank you. You've your story and your attitude today, man, it's absolutely contagious, brother. Hats off.
Thank you so much.
Hats off.
Yeah, I told Mama Lee, you know, if my life sucks, the guy that shot me wins, right?
I know. It's
He's
amazing.
not going to win.
I'm going to run into a couple questions here for you.
Okay.
The first one that came across was how to follow you on social. So I don't know if you want to put any plugs out there for what you're doing social media wise, but people would like to start following you.
It's pretty easy. I don't do it. I'm a I live in reality, not virtual reality. I don't have anything against social media or anything, but it was a choice that I made a long time ago to not be on it and to focus my life on my business and my family, and that's worked pretty good for me right now.
Do you have your water company up on social media?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I believe it's
That one is-
Drink Live to Give. Drink Live to Give has all the good stuff that we're doing. I'm on there a few times with some of the things that we have done. But yeah, I guess that'd be a good way to go is Drink Live to Give on Instagram.
Wow, what a day. Thank you guys all so much. Day two amazing, outstanding ones. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen the next 18 days. Please make sure you share this with other people so they can take advantage. We will be here every day at 15:13. And if you're in a place where you can support America's Mighty Warriors, please make a donation. Go to our website, americasmightywarriors.org, so we can continue our mission strong. And check out our store too if you have some funds and want to purchase something. Those proceeds go to support us as well. But John Wayne, God bless you. Wow. What a testimony. Through the pain, much passion, brother.
You're worth it.
All righty. Love
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much.
Love you back. God bless.
All right. Bye-bye.
When fear flashes its teeth like a lion, when evil roars and walls begin to shake, there's a strength that's not my own. There's a fire in my bones. He is with me and his hand is ever on me. Follow on me. We're marching out into the night. Follow on me. We're standing up against a giant. Follow on me. We might be walking in the fire, but if it's where we're meant to be, then on